You know, when you picture someone with really bad chronic back pain, who do you see? Probably someone in their 60s, maybe 70s, right? Well, what if I told you that whole picture is dangerously out of date? Today, we're going to dive into a modern epidemic, one that's hitting people younger and younger, and find out why our old assumptions about back pain might be putting us all at risk.
For the longest time, the answer to this question seemed, well, obvious. Back pain was something you dealt with later in life. But if you actually look at the data, the story it tells is not just different, it's pretty alarming. The numbers show a huge shift is happening, and it's happening right now.
And this quote from the Daily Jagran just hits the nail on the head. They use the word shockingly for a reason. This isn't some slow, gradual increase. We're talking about chronic, life-changing pain showing up in people who are just starting out in their careers, starting families. So it makes you wonder, what on earth has changed to make this happen?
All right, to really get a handle on the scale of this, we have to look at the numbers. We're going to start with one incredible study that was kind of like an early warning sign, and then we'll zoom out and see how this thing has exploded into a global problem.
So, researchers from the National Institutes of Health did something really clever. They took the exact same survey about back pain and ran it in North Carolina, just 14 years apart. Back in 1992, they found that just under 4% of adults had chronic, debilitating back pain. But when they ran the survey again in 2006, that number had jumped to over 10%. Just let that sink in for a second. In only 14 years, the rate more than doubled. This wasn't just a little blip on the radar. This was a massive shift in public health. This study was basically the canary in the coal mine, signaling that something fundamental about how we live and work was starting to take a serious toll. And hey, that North Carolina study wasn't some fluke. As you can see from this global map, this is a worldwide issue. Those areas in dark red, you see them in North America, parts of Europe, Australia, that's where the burden of back pain is hitting the hardest, literally robbing people of their health. But really, you can see that no corner of the world is untouched. So how do scientists even measure something like a burden of pain? Well, they use this really powerful metric called a DALY. It stands for Disability Adjusted Life Year. And basically, one DALY equals one lost year of healthy life. As this chart shows, the number of years people lose to back pain just keeps climbing with age, and it peaks right when you'd hope to be enjoying retirement. Let's just pause on this idea for a second. The disability adjusted life year. It's so much more than just a statistic. It's a way of actually putting a number on human suffering. So when you hear about millions of dailies, what we're really talking about are millions of years that people could have spent traveling or playing with their grandkids or just, living without pain. That's the real cost of this epidemic. Okay, so the data is pretty undeniable. This is a real and growing crisis. And that brings us to the big question, right? Why? What has changed so dramatically in just the last few decades that's causing this explosion of back pain, especially in younger people? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is simply where we work. A Stanford study found this massive shift. The percentage of Americans working full-time from home has almost tripled since the pandemic started. I mean, that is one of the fastest, most profound changes to our day-to-day physical lives in modern history. In that shift to working from home, it brought a whole new set of physical hazards. Suddenly, proper office chairs were replaced with sofas or kitchen stools. The daily commute disappeared, which meant a lot more sedentary hours. And our posture, it totally suffered as we hunched over laptops and phones, leading to that lovely modern problem of text neck. You mix all that with chronic stress, and you've got yourself a perfect storm for back pain. But it's not just about our posture or our work-from-home setups. The research points to another really powerful factor that puts direct physical strain on the spine day in and day out: rising obesity rates. Let's go back to that North Carolina study for a second. Remember how chronic back pain cases more than doubled? Well, get this. During that exact same period, in that exact same place, the obesity rate also doubled. Yeah, that is not a coincidence. Researchers have shown that these two trends are incredibly, powerfully linked. So, we've seen what's happening now, and we've looked at the causes. But what happens if we just keep going down this path? Let's take a look at the projections and see what the future of back pain might look like by the year 2050. This chart is projecting the lost years of healthy life, those DALYs we talked about, from back pain that's tied directly to having a high body mass index. The trend line is, well, it's steep and it's crystal clear. Unless we change something, this is the direction we're headed. And here's the number that goes with that trend line. By 2050, high BMI alone is projected to cause 15.5 million years of healthy life to be lost to back pain every single year. For perspective, that's up from 8.3 million in 2021. This isn't just a statistic, it's a quality of life crisis just waiting to happen.
Now, that forecast sounds pretty grim, I know, but the future is not set in stone. These trends can be changed. So for our last section, let's open up the toolkit. What are the actual effective things we can all do to fight back and protect our spines?
Do we just have to accept this future? Is chronic pain simply the price we have to pay for living in the modern world? Well, according to health experts, the answer is a big, loud no. There are concrete things we can all start doing to change our own personal trajectory, starting today. Here are 4 key habits that health experts recommend. First up, move often. Our spines were made to move, not to be stuck in one position for hours. So get up, change positions, maybe try a standing desk. Second, fix your ergonomics. Make your workspace support your body instead of fighting against it. Third, take breaks outside. Getting out isn't a luxury. The movement and the sunlight are crucial. And finally, number 4, manage your stress. All that mental tension, it translates directly into physical tension in your back muscles. And really, this is what it all boils down to. Our work, our entire lifestyles, have been completely revolutionized over the last couple of decades. But for a lot of us, our health routines are kind of stuck in the past. This data is a huge wake-up call. So I'll just leave you with this question. Your world has evolved? Has your health routine evolved with it? Because the answer to that question could really define the health of your back for decades to come.